Hi, this is Raghee Horner with a trade update. I'm looking at the Euro US dollar, and before I get to the actual time frame that the trade is set up on and actually triggered on, I want to make sure that we take a look at the directional bias of the daily chart. So remember, we're going to be focusing on an intraday time frame, but what I also want to remember is that it's the daily chart and its directional bias that will dictate which time frames are valid for certain types of entries, and therefore also understanding if we're trend following or playing counter trend. So there's a downtrend on the daily chart of the Euro US dollar, still very much in place and actually following through nicely from Friday's weakness. The 1 hour chart is the time frame that is triggering the swing short. Now the 1 hour is valid for a swing short. It's a slightly longer term intraday time frame. It's one that I typically will only consider for trend follows. So if I was going to take advantage of any kind of near-term strength, and you can see that momentum to the upside that is carrying us higher into a trend correction, you can see that counter trend momentum on the 15, on the 30, and on the 5. So for those of you that are saying, yeah, I want to take advantage of this strength, probably the best time frame for that would, for me, and my approach would be a between the greens entry on the 5. But what I'd really rather do is trend follow. Now, in terms of what is carrying us higher, that's the first question. When you see this kind of movement, obviously, after you look at the charts and you notice the price action, you want to start thinking about what's going on in terms of why we're getting such a somewhat sharp reversal to the upside. My favorite way to gauge these types of things, because our traditional media is usually very far behind the curve when it comes to this type of price movement, and for me to understand what's going on, my favorite place to go is right to my StockTwit stream. So taking a look at the StockTwit stream, I'll notice right away that I can start to see there's some discussion about the Euro US dollar. Now these are the people that I follow. These are all the different people that would end up on my stream. If I want to take a look specifically at what the entire StockTwits community is discussing when it comes to the euro, I can do a search by symbol, and let me show you that there. I can do a search by the symbol. I'll type in EUR USD, and then I can see what overall the opinion is on the Euro US dollar as well. So I'm looking for kind of a psychological gauge, and if there is anything going on, traditional media is just behind the 8 ball anymore. I will go right to my StockTwits community, look at the symbol, look at my stream, and start to see what the psychological impact is, and also perhaps what it is that's driving prices higher. Okay. We can see here one of the updates is possibly pre-FOMC positioning. And there's, by the way, a chart of the Euro US dollar right now. You can see the movement higher. This is important because back on my charts, I want to make sure that I'm not stepping into something really dramatically, fundamentally shifting in terms of the possibility for a more prolonged move higher. That's going to be really important, because what it is I'm trying to do here is take advantage of a correction, not a reversal. Again, a correction of the overall daily chart's directional bias, and I think the clarity of the downtrend on the 1 hour chart gives me a look at a smooth 34 EMA wave, one that is fairly established, and now for the first time we're actually seeing if it's going to be respected. We don't have past proof of prices exhausting within the wave, but this is what I'm gauging my entry on. The downtrend, the correction of the downtrend, and expectation for the correction, the bounce, if you will, to exhaust at the 34 period EMA low, which is my more conservative entry. Now there's two entries. The more aggressive one, which the speed at which this correction occurred really didn't even give me a chance, and I wasn't even interested in the 20 period simple right there. This is where I think the entry would be better suited to try to take advantage of this exhaustion. That's the 34 period EMA low. Again, my more conservative swing entry. Now, what if I wanted to have other types of confirmation? Well, I could drop a Fibbo on this chart if I wanted to do that, but I'm actually more interested in looking at the related charts, the Euro US dollar. Let's take a quick look at the dollar index and at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So the first thing I want to do is take a peek at the Dow. So the daily Dow is showing the weakness today. If I'm going to position myself in any kind of Euro US dollar short, near term or long term, I'd like the weakness of the Dow to be on my side, because that risk aversion is also going to help me with the movement lower on the fiber, on the Euro US dollar. The other chart that I want to take a look at would be intraday, the same time frame as my entry. 1 hour chart. Boom, there's that drop in the Dow. That's interesting. And then I'm getting a little bit of a recovery here right now. But again, the sentiment more or less has gone very, very near term bearish to neutral. Okay, that's also interesting to see. Euro US dollar means I've got to see what's going on with the dollar index. What's the dollar index doing here? Directional bias is very much up. 1 hour chart. Again, that 1 hour chart, I want to go apples to apples, because remember, my Euro US dollar trade is on the 1 hour time frame, so I don't want to forget that. So my dollar index chart is showing me what? A little bit of a pullback here, right? And I'm still heading up higher on the dollar index. So my expectation is for the dollar strength to continue to pressure this chart here. So what I'm hoping, and I hate to say hoping, I need to find a new word other than hope. What I'm expecting is this exhaustion to hold, because I'm, again, going with the directional bias of the Euro US dollar, and I expect the dollar's strength to continue to allow the dollar to gain against the euro. That's the plan. That's the supporting evidence. That's what my dollar index is doing. So the muted amount of weakness I'm seeing here, this little bit of pullback. By the way, the light green are up candles. The dark green is the down candle. This kind of muted pullback here is interesting, and here's where the relative strength game comes in. Look how much longer the euro has been gaining on the dollar in terms of the 1 hour chart. So this isn't so much a dollar weakness play. This is a euro strength play, in my opinion. Again, look at the dollar index. It really hasn't been pulling back very long. Okay, it's just really a recent pullback, and very, very slight at that. So this is not a dollar weakness play in terms of the correction that I'm trying to take advantage of. It's not a dollar weakness play at all. It's a euro strength play. So when the euro's done, and this will also help me determine what kind of headlines I'm trying to figure out that's being discounted into this market. It's not a dollar weakness play. It's again, a Euro US dollar movement higher based upon euro strength. Very, very important here. Will risk appetite be a factor? Of course. I can look to something like the YM. Again, I can go back to that Dow Jones chart, and I can see what that trend has been. Obviously, what I do want to see is risk aversion. I can see risk aversion most clearly if I look at the Dow and try to find out where the sellers are stepping in and if they're willing to drive this market lower. All right, that's a look at this play. Again, the play is the 60-minute Euro US dollar swing short into that conservative level at the 34 period EMA low.